2단지. 2단지 맞나?
2단지가 이쪽.
학교랑 가까워서. 근데 지갑이 뭐야? 원래 집 가까운 게 좋고. 이게 가까운 데다 대학교가 좀. 기숙할 때 그때 나중에 많아요. 그죠? 이게 멋지고. 트윈
단지 그렇게.
Good afternoon. It is so lovely to see all of you. Welcome to the Secondary School Principals Middle School Update. Just wanted to share that every slide will have translation on it, but if at any time you do not understand, let me know. I'm going to introduce myself and others in a moment, but I just wanted to share with you that we will have translation the entire time. So, Ms. Jo, if you would just please let everyone know in Korean, we're so happy they're here, and also that translation will be on any slide, but at any time, if they have a question.
안녕하십니까. 오늘 이 자리에 참석해주셔서 감사드리고요. 만약에 통역이 필요하시면 중간에 저한테 꼭 말씀하시면 중간중간에 제가 통역을 되도록 잘하도록 노력하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
All right, 감사합니다. So, we are so thankful that you, here we go. We are so thankful that you are with us today. Again, the slides are scripted so that everyone can be together. So this is a little different approach for me. So I'm going to have Ms. Jo translate that in just a moment. I'm so glad you're here. If you're not next to a neighbor, be sure to get next to someone because you will be chatting today. So again, the slides will be very scripted, so we will not translate ongoing, but if at any moment you have a question or you do not understand what we're saying on the slide, please let us know. So, Ms. Jo.
지난번에 하셨던 거랑 이번에는 방식이 살짝 다르게 돼 있는데요. 각 슬라이드에 한국 번역이 같이 내재돼 있어요. 그래서 중간중간에 궁금하시면 알려주시고요. 저희 교장 선생님께서 있는 슬라이드 그대로 먼저 진행하시겠다고 하십니다. 혹시 그리고 옆에 같이 앉아 계시는 분들이 있고 같이 소통하셔야 되니까요. 혼자 앉아 계시지 마시고 같이 앉아주시기 바랍니다.
All right. So we have an agenda today, and you'll see there the agenda, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. And first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Gail Smith, and I'm the secondary school principal at TCIS. And you can read a bit about my background on there, but I have been at TCIS, this is my 23rd year, and I've held different roles, as you can see, IBDP, mathematics, HLSL, been the DP coordinator, etc., but have enjoyed serving as a secondary school principal for 5 years.
교장 선생님의 양력이 아까 내재되어 있어서 읽어보시면 되시겠습니다.
All right, and this is my family. My husband, Larry Smith, is the spiritual life minister, and my children, Christian and Mackenzie Smith, graduated from TCIS in 2018, and my son now has 2 children, so I'm a grandma, Harmony.
보시다시피 아주 귀여운 손주들이 있습니다.
And it is my pleasure to work with a leadership team that is so strong. And so I'm going to invite our secondary school deputy principal, Mr. Diego Afami-Delgo, to please introduce himself.
Thank you so much. So I'm Mr. Hidalgo, I'm the secondary deputy principal, and I've been working here at TCS now for 7 years. When I first got here, I was teaching Spanish and I was teaching TOK, and we were in different hats. I've been doing Spanish, TOK, class coordinator, lead teacher, different other positions as well. My background is all about education and second languages, and not long ago I actually finished my master in inclusive education. For a reason, I believe that every single child should be provided with the right tools to be successful in every class. So we believe that every single child has their potential, and we need to find the tools and provide the best tools for every single individual. And this is my family. He has not yet graduated from TCIS, hopefully one day soon. But this is my wife, Mrs. Stones, is working currently at TCIS in the grade 2. The little one that is taking over the whole slide, it's Jacob. He's now 15 months old. And not long ago, we went to Mrs. Stone country, that is South Africa, and we had the chance to actually dress him up with a proper South African safari outfit. So I was really proud of that one. And this is my family, and now I'd like to introduce Mr. Word, who is the NYP coordinator and also the middle school assistant principal. So please, welcome.
Hello, my name is Mr. Ward, as Mr. Hidalgo said, and I've been at TSAS for 20 years, and I came into education from an alternative route. I was actually a media and student pastor in the United States 20 years ago, and my degree was in pastoral counseling. But I loved working in technology, and so before the iPhone was created, I started teaching technology on behalf of Dr. Penland, old headmaster, to teachers who didn't have Macs at the time, were getting Mac computers. And so as I taught teachers how to use Macs, I started teaching students how to use the computers and doing different technological, projects. I just love technology. I went back to school, University of West Florida, and received my teaching certification. And over those years, I've taught NYP, design technology, computer technology, and loved the NYP experience. And I've been through many different trainings in the NYP now, and so now I'm serving your children as the NYP coordinator, and also supporting our wonderful administration in any tasks that they may need me to do as the middle school assistant principal. But my great joy is working with your children in that role. And my family, my wife is also a teacher here. She went back to school the same time I did, and she went and received art education, and so she's the art teacher here in the NYP. I've got one child in grade 9, one child that's graduating this year, and then I have one son who's now in Cambodia, actually working in some missions program, and he'll go back to university next fall. And so my family, I don't really have a home in the United States because TCIS in Korea has been a home for a long time. As you can see that our home is wherever cousins live. And so we travel most of the summer just investing in family so we maintain those connections. And throughout this talk today, you'll just recognize, hopefully, that that's what TCIS is about, is connections. The understanding that we are all a part of this journey together, and we're grateful to partner with you on your child's journey. So thank you.
다 알아들으셨죠? 이거는 제가 통역을 안 해도 되겠습니다.
All right, thank you to our incredible secondary school leadership team. And there is a lovely, lovely group of people that make what we do possible every day. And so I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge our administrative assistant team leader, Ms. Cindy Hayak Jang. Please give her a warm applause. She's amazing. And she's not only the leader, but she works in our office alongside a lovely administrative assistant who has such a big heart. And today is her birthday, Miss Yanji Yang. So happy birthday. And this lovely woman next to me is our translator for today, but she is our parent support. She is here to hear you today and every day. She's here to encourage and support you and to really understand what you need. So, Ms. Jo Cho, 감사합니다. Thank you. And I am going to ask you to translate this. We have the iconic and legendary and amazing, she's already laughing, she knows I'm talking about her. I just had to acknowledge my dear friend and sister, I'm going to get emotional here, my dear friend and sister who has been with me, we joined TCIS the same year together, who has listened to you over the years and translated for you. Just wanted to acknowledge you. Thank you for being here, Barb Smith. And you know her. And I just wanted to say thank you to our elementary principal, Mr. Nigel Schofield, for attending today. We're so glad to have you. Welcome, welcome. And just to pause, thank you all for being physically present, and to those watching the live stream, thank you for taking time to be present and to listen. So, All right, so from this point forward, we'll have slides highly scripted, so we won't use translation again unless you need it. So, oh, sorry, I guess you need this slide here. Here we go, the 4 pillars. So the 4 pillars of TCIS are the mission statement, the motto, the educational philosophy, and school verse. But I put the school verse first, followed by our educational philosophy, motto, mission statement here, because our faith as a Christian school is founded on God's Word. And so we're going to go through the 4 pillars because they guide us in how we make decisions, who we are as a community. And so as we continue to grow and change, these 4 pillars are very, very important to us and being consistent in who we are. And so today we are going to take a few minutes to reflect on these. I have an activity for you. This is an interactive update here. We like to do that. So first of all, the school verse you can see on the screen. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. And so that's our school verse. And I wanted to just point out that we as Christian educators, the founders of the school, we're missionaries in Korea, that we desire to live in relationship with Christ and to follow Him. And it also reminds us to faithfully pursue what He has called us to do, and to do that with perseverance and purpose and trust in Him. And so I just wanted to share a bit about our foundation there. And then the educational philosophy, I go over this every update, and I talk about how beautiful it is. And I talk about self-respect, etc. And I just wanted to take a moment to do this. I see that we're going to actually do a little activity here. And who has, Mr. Joe, we need to refresh the presentation. So if you'll do that while we're doing this activity. So I do have the educational philosophy. If I could get some team leaders to help me here, that would be great. We want to make sure that every person, yeah, they'll do it. Thank you. And pens or pencils. So we have pens or pencils, and we have educational philosophy, and I just am asking that you take a moment. This is our educational philosophy at TCIS, and I want you to take a moment and circle some words that stand out to you. And you're going to share this with the neighbor in a moment, so take a moment, reflect in either English or Korean, and reflect or highlight words that stand out to you. And actually, before you do that, 잠시만요. I realized our head of school, Mr. Michael Moy is here, so I just wanted to introduce him and acknowledge him and appreciate him for his support of middle school. So 감사합니다, Mr. Moy, thank you.
잠시 시간을 내서 교육 철학을 읽으시고요. 마음에 와닿는 문구나 단어에 동그라미 치시면 되시겠습니다.
Thank you so much for taking a moment. Just share with a neighbor, the person around you, next to you, just share a couple things that stood out to you.
옆에 계신 분들하고 같이 마음에 맞닿는 문구를 동그라미 치셨으면요. 단어나 문구에 대해서 잠시 말씀을 나누셨으면 좋겠습니다. 수줍어하지 마시고요. 편안하게 말씀해 주시면 되겠습니다.
저는 영어로 더 베스트 오퍼튜니티를 했습니다. 베스트 오퍼튜니티를 좀 패시브 어제 연구했는데
왜 영어를 이쪽에 기회 뭐 제공한다.
얘기해야 되겠네. 업데이트 해야 되겠어요.
All right, thank you so much for taking a moment to do that. I just have to say, you're great students. Hakseng, really good. Well done.
대단한 학생이십니다, 부모님들.
Thank you for taking a moment. I think it's important for all of us to reflect on some foundational pieces. And so I'm going to share with you, as I've shared many times, I think many of you know, my thoughts about some really key words that are in this philosophy. And so, yeah, I just want to pause and say each student. We're so blessed to have each student in our community, and we view them as made in the image of God. And self-respect, self-worth, respect and esteem for others are so critical for us in our community. And we do want to provide the kind of environment in which each student, every one of your children, is able to develop their unique gifts, their intellect, their personality, their stature and spirit, that we give them the best opportunities to develop those. And we do base our philosophy on Christian beliefs. I'm going to pause. Ms. Joe, I'm going to ask you to translate for me. I just want to say that as we go through these slides, I've met with you, some of you, one-on-one or in small groups. And when I meet with you, I always hear your heart to help us grow in providing the best opportunities. And so I wanted to acknowledge and appreciate that. Again, that every time I meet with you, I hear your heart that you want us to provide those best opportunities.
교장 선생님께서 말씀하시는 건요. 지금 학부모님들께서 여기 오신 다음에 개인적으로 소그룹을 만나서 반갑다고 말씀하셨고요. 오늘 이 자리에서 다시 한번 그 마음에 대해서 감사와 존중의 마음을 전하셨습니다. 그다음에 학생들에게 가장 좋은 기회를 제공하고 싶다는 학부모님들, 가장 좋은 기회를 제공하고 싶다는 학부모님들의 진심을 담아서 감사합니다 말씀하셨습니다.
So I just want to say that we deeply value your child and their learning and growth, both as a student and as a person. And we are so grateful to have your child in our community, and we're grateful that you and they are part of the TCIS story. And so moving on with our 4 pillars, we have our motto, Learn, Love, Lead. And students have heard me say this a lot, that our motto, love is at the center. And so love is at the center of our motto and what we do here. And I also just want to mention that we have a phrase we use, Christ-centered, student-focused. And that out of our love for Christ, that we are able to care deeply and intentionally for your children and to support their growth and development. And we also adopted a secondary school verse. We wanted to do this a couple years ago. Let love be genuine. And so our hope is that we demonstrate genuine love to your child, and we ask them to show genuine love to others. And again, we seek to show genuine love to all community members. That's students, that's you as parents, that's faculty, staff, and leadership. And we ask that you show genuine love for all members of our community, your child, other children, other parents, faculty, and leadership. And we also seek to make things right. Things are not always right, sometimes they're wrong. And so We seek to do what is best, and we seek to forgive when others have wronged us, and we seek to live in our community, and we seek to live in Christ's love well together. Our mission statement, one year we did this with students, we unpacked every word, and they knew it so well. TCI strives to cultivate internationally minded learners who lead in purposeful change. And so looking at that, if you were here in September at the Principals Update, I asked you what the most important word was in the mission statement, and we talked about TCIS. TCIS is the most important word there. And in our community, we like to say you are an important part of the TCIS story. That's a phrase our students all know it now. They turn to each other in assemblies and they say you are an important part of the TCIS story. So please turn to your neighbor and say in English or Korean or another language of your home language that's understood, if you please turn to each other and say you are an important part of the TCIS story. Go ahead. So I've already shared this because I tend to do that, but the reflection, why do we spend so long on the 4 pillars? And again, these matter because they remind us of who we are and how we're called to care for one another as a school community. I apologize. Now, okay. So they matter because, again, who we are and how we're asked to treat each other. So this is a season of growth and change, and it's really important that we come together, that students, parents, faculty, staff, to partner intentionally together, to support one another, and to work collaboratively so that every child is known, valued, and able to reach their full potential. And I want to say again, I thank you when you give me feedback, because it's so important that I know what you're experiencing and what we can do better and how we can work together to do that. So I'm going to translate that last part again, that I value the feedback you give and want to partner together.
학부모님께서 보내주신 피드백에 정말 감사드리고요. 그거에 대해서 정말 많은 고민을 많이 하셨다고 하십니다.
I'm going to go back to the educational philosophy that we shared earlier. And I just wanted to talk about respect and esteem for others a little bit. And this can be faculty to student, student to faculty, faculty to parent, parent to faculty, and other students and so on. So respect, and just want to emphasize that I always want to respect you and ask again that you respect me and others in our community. And I also wanted to mention it's so important if something is not right or if it's just wrong, not even close to right, it's important for us to stand up and what we believe in is right, to advocate for ourselves and others, for your children, for other children, for all of us to advocate and talk about. So, Ms. Jo, can you translate advocate just as coming forward and sharing what needs to be shared with the right people so that we can make things right?
혹시 문제가 있으실 때는 담임 선생님이시나 또는 교장 선생님이나 그냥 서로 이렇다더라는 말씀을 하지 마시고 직접 담임 선생님이나 코디네이터나 교장 선생님께 직접 오셔서 간단하게 이야기를 또 소통하시는 것을 추천하고 계십니다.
So I just wanted to share something pretty direct with you, that it's not okay to spread rumors or gossip or hurtful comments. It's not okay to share things about other people's children. Those are our students. And so I just want to be very explicit today about that. Also, my prayer is that we will come together as a community demonstrating genuine love for each other. And again, that's not just asking you to us, it's us to you, that we all demonstrate love and care for each other.
저희가 공동체 하나로서 다 같이 아이들의 성장을 위해서 같이 가는 것을 지향하고 계십니다.
And I just wanted to recognize a group of people and express my gratitude to the parents who have reached out to me and other secondary school leaders regarding recent concerns due to enrollment growth. I appreciate your courage and your feedback and your willingness to discuss concerns. That means so much to me. So 감사합니다. I also want to apologize for late communication. There is a lot happening here, and we are engaging every day, but sometimes we don't get that information to you right away. We do seek to communicate clearly, and we appreciate that you have shared that you want more timely communication, so thank you again. And we will be we'll be providing that today and hope that we can journey well together. So again, 감사합니다. Oh, 감사합니다. I don't know if you got that last part there, but we want to journey well together, so thank you. And then I just want to, again, talk about communication. I agree, we need timely communication and then communicating well. I wanted to share, again, there is a parent code of conduct, so please review that and be familiar with that. And I wanted to highlight a couple areas, and again, I'll translate it on the slide. Communicate with staff, other parents, and students in a respectful and constructive manner. Address concerns through the appropriate school channels, avoiding public criticism, including on social media, and protect the dignity and privacy of all community members. So those are some key takeaways, again, right there for you. And then please do not talk negatively about our students and the community. Please do reach out to the secondary school office if you have a concern about policies, practices, actions of faculty or leaders. Please reach out. Please don't spread negative narratives, unfounded accusations, or false rumors. Sometimes we think something's true, so we share it as if it is true, but we don't actually know. So again, please reach out to us. We want to make things right. And so in summary, we ask that you and us, that we're all kind to each other, that we care for every person in this community, that we forgive, because we're human and we're going to have to forgive each other, and that from Colossians 3:14, put on love. So, with that communication, I need to give you clear pathways. And so, Ms. Jo, I'm going to have you translate something in just a moment here. So this is pretty self-explanatory. You do have the elementary pathway here, and Mr. Schofield can have more detail if needed. But over here, you see that we talked to you about going to the classroom teacher first and working that out. And if there's a barrier there or it can't be worked out, then you move into the IB coordinators. Mr. Jamie Ward is here right now. You also have your DP coordinator, Mr. Daniel Hahn. And then it comes to me if it's about academics, student behavior, social emotional can go through the deputy principal, etc. And so this is all pretty self-explanatory, but over here, Ms. Jo, is what I'm wanting you to translate. I'm so grateful. So first of all, thank you for submitting your questions in advance on the survey.
피드백 먼저 보내주셔서 감사드립니다.
I did receive some residence life concerns, some transportation concerns, and some other pieces that I'll highlight later. But, so just translate that first.
노동 관련된 질문하고요. 그다음에 학교 교통, 저희 학교 셔틀버스 관련된 질문하고요. 그거는 조금 다르게 나중에 설명해 주신다고 하십니다.
However, even though our dorm students are secondary school students, you'll see that residence life is under Ms. Adams, the coordinator, and then you go all the way down. The administrator over the dorm is actually Mr. Moy Moy. He wears a lot of hats. And so if it's a residence life concern, it goes to Ms. Adams, but if you need to go to the admin level, it comes all the way down here to Mr. Moy Moy.
도미토리에 계신 그 학생들은 만약에 문제가 생겼다거나 컨서닝 사항이 생겼으면 저희 TS 아담스 선생님하고 먼저 상의를 하시고 혹시라도 문제가 풀리지 않았다 그러면 저희 총 교장님께 질문하시면 되시겠습니다.
So I'll visit that later again during the Q&A session. But I just wanted to make a moment here on the chart that you can see anything with residence life. The administrator there is Mr. Moywe.
도움 관련돼서는 저희 총 교장님 선생님하고 말씀하시면 되고요. 맨 마지막에 설계청사가 있으시고요. 나중에 Q&A 세션을 한 번 더 언급해 주신다고 하십니다.
Okay. So that's what this slide says. That goes to Mr. Moywe. And then back to our slide that we have every time. Again, it starts with the teacher, can go to the counselor or a coach if it's about athletics. And then it goes to the coordinator, secondary school principal. And this is when I always surprise new parents or students. I want to resolve your questions. I want to work things out. But if you don't work it out at my level after you've been through all these steps, then please go to my supervisor, Mr. Moywe, the head of school. I want your problem to be resolved. So please translate that because it's important.
저희 교장 선생님께서는 모든 문제가 컨설이 있거나 걱정거리가 있으면 학부모님하고 소통하시고 회의를 잡으실 수도 있고요. 그래서 되도록이면 교장 선생님 모든 걸 문제를 풀려고 노력하시기 때문에 혹시라도 안 되면 총 교장 선생님께서 지혜를 하실 수 있으시다고 말씀드립니다.
Okay, so our desire is to work with you. So we just went through a lot, and maybe some of that was surprising to you. Maybe the residence life you didn't know. But take a moment, talk with your neighbor, take a note to yourself. What are some takeaways? What do you understand now about communication? Or what questions do you still have about communication? Take a moment and talk about your neighbors.
옆에 계신 분들하고 혹시라도 질문을 같이 하셨으면 되겠는데요. 소통과 관련해서 어떤 점이 가장 인상 깊었거나 또는 도움이 되셨을까요? 또는 학교와의 소통에 대해서 어떤 점이 더 궁금하시거나 알고 싶으나 개선 사항이 있으시면 말씀하신다면 저희한테 알려주시면 답변드리겠습니다.
지혜를 잘하셨어요? 잘 가져갔어요? 어떻게 대응을 최고였을 거예요? 진짜 못한 결과를 받았어. 그래가지고 내가 내 생일날이 우리 제주도에 가서
All right, thank you so much again. I want to say you are great students. Teachers would love having you in their classroom, so 감사합니다. Do you have any questions about communication pathways? We'll still do the Q&A at the end with your submitted questions, but communication pathways, question?
I actually totally agree with the communication path, which tells us that don't talk to all the random, like, faculties. There are orders. I totally respect that. One downside I would imagine would be that if we report to the only one, one faculty, we're never, spread out any information between us. And how do we learn, any existing problems in the school? Let's say there's some problems happening in the school, but we never, are allowed to spread the word, which I really respect. But how do we, receive information about the problem if there exists? Do you guys have any, prepare any opportunity to inform us what is happening in the school?
Great question. So I'm going to repeat the question in English, and then Ms. Jo will translate into Korean, so we all have the question, and then we can move forward. So a couple quick things. I think the question was talking about, so if we don't share with other parents, like maybe I'm going through something with my child, but I don't know if you're going through, that's a great piece. And then you asked, how do we as a school find out there's a problem, or how do you hear from us what is going on or what's happening inside the school? So that's a great question with a few different moving parts. So I'm going to hand over to Ms. Jo. Did I capture your question well? Okay, thank you. So Ms. Jo, if you could translate the question, and then I'll answer in English and you'll answer in Korean. Okay.
여기 있는 학부모님께서 말씀해 주신 거는요. 만약에 저희 문제가 있을 때 그 다른 학부모들께 어떻게 해서 한 가지는 솔브가 되는데 자, 모두 같은 질문을 가지고 계신 것 같은데요. 그 질문의 핵심은 내 아이와 관련해서 어떤 어려움을 겪고 있는데 다른 분들도 혹시나 같은 상황인지에 대해서 잘 모를 때가 있잖아요. 이게 내 아이만의 일인가 아니면 이게 한 그룹의 일인가 그런 질문은 어떻게 해야 되는지 또는 이렇다면 학교는 이 문제를 어떻게 해결할 것인가 또는 어떻게 알고 있는가에 대한 질문이신 거죠? 네.
All right, so a couple pieces here. First of all, I do want you to talk to each other. I want you to be in community. And if you're struggling with something and you say, hey, I've noticed lately that my child is saying that maybe things aren't going well. And since I was a math teacher, I'll use math. We'll just say math. My child isn't being challenged, or maybe all the students are not understanding the teacher. It could be a couple things. That's a very respectful conversation. And to me, that's an appropriate conversation if you're talking to each other. But when it goes on Kakao Chat and it goes to everybody, and then we say, that teacher's terrible, or this teacher that, that's where it can get out of control. I'm not saying that you would do that. I'm saying it can go there. So there's a difference between calling up and saying, hey, your child is in my child's math class, and this is what my child's been experiencing. I want you to be in community together, right? I want you to be able to talk. But there's a difference when we take it and we launch it, and we start, our language starts to get angry or frustrated, etc. So there's a balance in there, I believe, that we can have healthy conversation and say, hey, I have a concern. Well, what did we hear at the principal's update? Okay, let's try talking with the teacher. If it doesn't go well, then we know that we go to the MIP coordinator. So, Ms. Jo, that was a lot. I can break it down into pieces if you like, or if you're good, you can.
If I can remember properly.
Okay.
I kind of record it so I can remember. Right. Okay. 만약에 저희 아이가 수학 시간에 문제가 있어요. 이게 대신에 잘하고 있는데 조금 더 나은 어드밴스 레벨이 필요하다고 하면은 잘 들리실까요? 네. 만약에 수학 시간에 저희 아이가 잘하고 있어요. 근데 더 잘하기 위해서는 아무래도 좀 챌린지한 상황이 필요하잖아요. 그러면 어떻게 할까? 이런 거는 선생님하고 대화를 하셔야 되잖아요. 근데 내 아이만의 문제일까? 아니면은 우리 아이가 있는 이 수학 시간이 그냥 그런 보통의 기준에만 할까? 이럴 때는 아무래도 교장 선생님이나 MI 코디네이터나 교감 선생님한테 한 번은 회의를 하시네요. 학부모 상담을 요청하시는 것도 하나의 방법이라고 말씀하셨습니다.
So that's the first part. I definitely want you to talk with each other and be in community together. And that means celebrating the great moments. And it means saying, hey, I've been thinking about this very respectfully. That's why we went over the respect piece. The school, communication. I have been so encouraged by parents' willingness to reach out and say, we need more. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. So you will find that if you come to me and you tell me that there is a problem and I can see the problem, I will tell you, yes, this is a problem. We need to fix it. So I am very transparent, but I need to communicate more often about all that's happening on our end, because we are very busy here working very diligently to support your child. But I need to communicate more clearly and more often, and to be transparent with you. So if there's something that I see as a problem and you come to me, I will be transparent with you, and I will try to communicate with you the challenges that we're facing in terms of, we were seeking to hire a grade 6 math and science teacher, and we could not hire one for semester 2. That is an issue. And so we worked very diligently, and we weren't able to do that. So that's an issue, and I'm being transparent here with everyone that we were not able to secure a highly qualified math and science teacher for semester 2. So we're still searching for, I doubt we'll be able to get one for now, but we're looking for August. So the idea is I will be transparent with you, and I will also seek to be more proactive. So in my newsletters from this point forward, I'm going to try to think of clearly things of interest, not just encouragement, but hey, this is what we're looking for, and you can pray for us, etc. So again, the school can step up in communication, and I take responsibility for that. So, 감사합니다.
두 번째 말씀해 주시는 다 알아들으셨을 것 같긴 하지만 제가 한번 확인을 해보겠습니다. 저희 학교에서 만약에 챌린지가 필요한 친구들, 학생들한테는 챌린지를 제공할 수 있고요. 근데 그거는 아무래도 학부모님하고 선생님하고 조금 더 자주 소통을 하셔야 되거든요. 만약에 at the end of year, at the end of semester, 근데 갑자기 우리 아이가 너무 잘했어. 근데 중간중간에 조금 더 높은 레벨을 챌린징 했었으면 좋았을 텐데 하는 아쉬움이 있었으면 너무 늦잖아요. 그래서 너무 end of school 이어나 end of semester 기다리지 마시고 되도록이면 더 자주 선생님들하고 소통하셨으면 좋겠습니다. 그럼 교장 선생님께서도 혹시나 필요한 친구들 필요하게 조금 더 어저스트 할 수 있는 친구들한테는 조금 더 브로드하게 어저스트 해 주신다고 말씀하십니다.
Thank you so much for the great question. I'm going to move on, and again, we'll have time at the end for more questions, but I just wanted to say thank you for supporting your child by attending these or following along if you weren't able to be present in person, understanding what's happening here. And again, we're going to communicate more, helping your child navigate challenging moments. Middle school parents, your child's going through great change, communicating with faculty, staff, and administration in appropriate ways. So, 감사합니다. Thank you also. I do want to share that your children, they can see something, but they may not know the whole story. So sometimes they can see or perceive something, and just helping them understanding that it may not be everything, the whole story. Helping your child mature and understanding how to interact with their peers. Thank you for helping them develop international mindedness and people who are different from them, and helping them move past historical narratives. So if something was wrong, but it's fixed, helping them say, okay, it was wrong, but now it's better. So you help your child in so many ways. And again, I know I'm being repetitive, but I want to say we care deeply about providing the best opportunities. And so that's our heart. And if something is not right, we want to know so we can support your child and you. All right. So with that, I want to take a moment to pause, and as a Christian school, we have a privilege of praying for our semester together. If you would like to just quietly reflect, you may do so. I've actually done something I don't normally do. I've put my prayer on the screen. It's on the next slide. So I'm going to pray this prayer, and you're welcome to join me or reflect quietly. Heavenly Father, we are so thankful that we are your chosen ones, holy and beloved. I pray that we will have compassionate hearts, act in kindness and with humility, that we will surrender challenging situations to you and be patient with each other. I pray that we will seek to work through our differences and forgive each other as you, Lord, have forgiven us. We know that we must forgive others, and above all these things, I pray that we will put on love, which binds us together in perfect harmony. Amen. All right, this is the fun part. Just wanted to share a little bit. Our middle school Kaimia honor band students went away to the Kaimia Festival, and they had a great experience there. We also, at the end of semester one, middle school athletics, we celebrated various athletes, sports teams for semester one, and that was lovely to see your children. And in December, we had an ice skating event after a house activity that day. Just wanted to show you that with a structural engineering higher block, the students are enjoying their time. Grade 7 went on a field trip to Samsung and had a great time there. And it's part of their Unit 3. And then if you were here in December in person, you got to see the Grade 8 PBL Showcase Museum of Beliefs. And our students got up and presented well, and we're so proud of them. So that was just some highlights from December, January. Lots been happening. But it's now my privilege to turn over the next slides to our Deputy Principal. Please welcome Mr. Hidalgo back.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mee. There was so much shared already, and I would like to take some time to talk about the Student Code of Conduct and school violence, because it's a really important area that we care a lot here at TCS, because we always talk with the students, middle school, high school, we talk about inclusion, and we talk about kindness. And I always say, if we are kind, we don't need to be thinking about school violence, we don't need to be thinking about student code of conduct, because we're being kind with each other, okay? So, student code of conduct, we can find this section within the student handbook. This is our online link that I will share with all of you at the beginning of the year, and it's being shared with all the students at the beginning of the year. It's online, so it's a live version. We keep updating as we go. There are things or gaps that we need to be filling, so we keep updating the student handbook. Please read the student handbook carefully, because you've got many areas of the school. It's not just about the student code of conduct, but you can see the schedules, you can talk about dress code, we talk about behavior, we talk about consequences. So it's a really long document. It can be up to 85 pages as of right now, but it's really important. It's really important. And during assemblies, homerooms, we are unpacking this document because it's really important for the students. It's all about school life. We know that we are talking about math, we are talking about English, we are talking about humanities, but we also need to see how do we present ourselves, how do we behave, not just in TCIS, but also outside of TCIS. I'm going to take some time to talk about school violence. It's one of the main areas here that I want to talk about. This is not my definition, this is the Korean law definition, and the Korean law definition, the term school violence refers to any action committed against the students, and this is really important that I tell the student, inside or outside of TCIS, of the school premises, resulting in a physical, mental injury or damage. So we see that the definition of school violence, it can be really big, really broad, and that's what we talk with the students. Sometimes we believe that school violence is just something that's physical and it's happening in the schools. Like, no, it can be through Kakao, it can be through Gmail, it can be through Instagram. We've got so many social medias now, right? We've got so many platforms. But it can be also how we behave with each other in class. And it's sometimes you don't even need to talk. It's just how we behave with each other. So it's really important that we unpack this, and I've been unpacking this with the students pretty much on a weekly basis. However, we don't use the word school violence. We have the school violence, but at TCIS we call it SAFE, that it's a school against violence everywhere. Okay, that's what it relates to school violence as the Korean terminology. Important, I've shared this in the past, the last couple of years there's been a change in the law. I'm going to go through all of them so we can see them all together. When there's an incident, it's really important. Sometimes we don't see the incident. Sometimes I don't see the incident because I'm not present. So that's why it's really important that people report. If we don't report, we sometimes don't know what is happening. Because it's really difficult. It can be online, it can be on a social media, it can be somewhere else that is not in TCIS. So we have an incident, we get the report from the teacher, student, or family, or anyone. It doesn't need to be just from any of the stakeholders from TCIS. It can be someone else externally to TCIS that they've seen or experienced something. So we start investigation or inquiry. So at that point, we're going to be calling people that they are involved. So we want to hear not just from one side, we need to hear from both sides or three sides, depending on the amount of people that's been involved. Once we see this and we can qualify that under the school violence definition, that again I'm going to come here. Once we qualify this under the school violence definition, then we need to report to the DMOE. And that's really important. Sometimes it's just, hey, FYI, there's been a situation and we are handling this situation. Sometimes we need to report and we say, like, we need support from the DMOE and we need an external investigator. And that's where I'm going to be getting to. Obviously, as soon as we see that there's a school violence, we separate the perpetrator and the victim. That's really important. We work with the counseling, secondary office, and teachers. We separate students, and the new piece is that there's an external investigator. So usually in the past, it was the administration, secondary office, deputy principal, running the investigation, At this point, the DMOE is actually providing an external investigator from the outside of the TCAS community. Okay? And that's really important because when that person comes, he or she is going to be completely neutral and it's going to be calling all the parties. And they are going to hear from both sides what it's been happening. Okay? And they can refer back, or that's going to be run by this external person. After that, the external investigator is going to run a report that's going to be submitted to the secondary office, to the secondary administration, and we run this investigation for the exclusive unit. It's an anonymous committee from the TCIS community, not just teachers, but different stakeholders that they belong to TCIS. And there are going to be two options for resolution. It's going to be whether the head of the school for resolution, or it can escalate to the RDC, which is the Regional Delivery Committee. That is the DMOE. That is completely external. If the situation qualifies for the RDC, at that point, TCIS hand over all the documentation that we have to the DMOE, and they are the one again, from the investigation and all the documentations that they have, they again are going to be running different interviews with all the parties that they've been involved. Okay, so it's a process that it's not comfortable for anyone. It's not comfortable for the victim. It's not comfortable for the perpetrator, and it's not comfortable for any family that is involved. But obviously, we are looking for resolution. This is in Korean. I don't understand Korean, but you can see that this is the official document from the DMOE that's been received from the DMOE. And you can see how it progressed from the incident up to the final resolution. Here's the process. As I said, this is pretty much a visual on what I've been sharing before. And the new part is that we get the external investigator. That's an option that the DMOE provided. Really important, each situation, whenever there's a school violence, we get back to the root of the problem. Sometimes we get the reaction, and that's what it's reported, but it's really important that whenever we get a school violence, we don't only focus on the final reaction, we need to understand what is the root of the whole problem. And that's where the investigation starts, and that's also done by the external investigator. And again, victim and perpetrator, they're going to get the chance to share their side of the story. And really important, reporting. All the teachers, they are obligated by law to report if they experience any school violence. It's not because Johnny did it, it's like any school violence that they could experience within TCIS, they are obligated to report to the secondary office. And we are in consistent communication with the DMOE. So the DMOE and TCIS, we've got one person within TCIS, that is the DMOE liaison, that is the person that communicates directly with the DMOE. So anytime that there's an incident that can be qualified as school violence, or even sometimes there are situations like, oh, we are not sure, we always contact the DMOE. So we are always in collaboration with them because they help us as well to go through the whole situation. And it's really important as families, if you see that there's been a situation that your child might have been involved in, and you believe, hey, this is not okay, I need to report, please do so. And report directly to me, or you can report as well to Mrs. Smith if needed, or you can schedule a meeting with me, and I'm more than willing to meet with you, because it's really important that we solve any situation or any conflict that we have at TCIS. We want every child that they feel that they belong, and they are happy to come to TCIS every day. And if there's a situation that has not been resolved, they're going to be carrying that on a daily basis. So it's really important that we get to the root of the problem and we solve it. And sometimes it's easier, but sometimes it's more difficult to resolve. But we are here and we are committed to resolve the problem. And now, I would like to pass it back to Mrs. Smith, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hidalgo. Now, I want to go back to the school of violence for a moment because that's really, really important. And you just heard a lot of information. So turn to a neighbor and ask, I didn't quite catch this, or I understand this now, or I have a question. Go ahead and take a moment to process because that's really critical information. And he'll be standing by ready for your questions. So.
혹시 학교 폭력에 관련해 가지고 이해를 못하셨거나 궁금하신 사항이라거나 조금 더 질문에 있으시면 서로 말씀 나누시고요. 질문해 주시면 되시겠습니다.
Okay, continuing on. Well done, well done. Buen trabajo. So then we'll move forward then with the middle school retreat, outdoor ed. So I just want to say 감사합니다 as we work through this first year of implementing outdoor education. A decision was made, a very pragmatic decision, that we are going to combine outdoor education and the annual middle school retreat. This is grades 6 to 8. It's going to be combined. And so on February 11th, a team will be visiting a venue to see if we can hold all middle school. So I want Ms. Jo to translate for you that we're not doing separate outdoor ed activities and a middle school retreat. We're combining them together. Can you make that clear?
이번에는 각각 하려고요. 이거는 한꺼번에 묶어서 한 반으로 진행하신다고 말씀하십니다. 전에는 각각 진행하신 것 같은데요. 이번에는 한 번에 묶어서 리트릿 진행하신다고 하십니다.
All right, so I want to make a very clear statement about details. After we visit the venue, we can then determine if that venue will hold all of 6 to 8 or if we have to do a different plan. So I will get back to you after February 11. So sometime this month, I will be in touch. FYI, or please know that historically the middle school retreat has been a user pay cost and the cost has been less, 85,000 won or less per student. I can't give you a number today, so I'm being transparent. I don't know the number. I have to visit the venue and iron out some details to tell you, but I wanted to share this now. So if you just please just translate details after February 11, but that I do not know, but the cost would not exceed the 85,000. I can't promise that today, that it would not exceed that, but I'll have to get back to them before I know the exact cost. So.
말씀하신 대로 2월 12일 1일 이후에 장소를 먼저 사전 답사를 다녀오신 다음에 금액이 산정되면 그때 말씀해 준다고 조금 비쌀 수도 있고 조금 더 쌀 수도 있는데 우선 사전 답사를 다녀오신 다음에 상황이 정리된 다음에 말씀드린다고 하십니다.
And I also wanted to say that we will be reviewing the program for the 2026-2027 school year. You will be informed about the direction and proposed changes to the program during this semester. So this semester, I will inform you about next year. We have hired a PHE teacher who is also outdoor ed coordinator and another PHE teacher which is outdoor ed teacher. So they will work together on this program. So, so we've hired 2 teachers to teach MYP physical health education, and they will also work with the outdoor ed program.
이번에 한 선생님께서 입사를 하셨고요. 그분께서 이제 중학생 PY 피지컬 에듀케이션 선생님으로 같이 한꺼번에 이제 야외 교육에 대해서 교육을 하신다고 하십니다.
All right, so outdoor ed, I will get back to you later this semester. I also wanted to share some upcoming middle school events. We do have, for the first time in years, a middle school group photo taking place on February 5. We're hosting a basketball tournament. We've got some jamborees. We do have a school holiday on March 2nd, and we have some other middle school athletics events. And then going here, grade 8 to 9 transition parent meeting will be taking place in March. And then we have some other events such as the NJHS induction, the grade 8 walkathon, and some other events going on there, some sports events. And I wanted to share about the school day hours. This year we end at 3:30 p.m. And I wanted to be clear, as I mentioned in December, It is possible that the day could end around 4:15. We're working on details now. You will have more information by next month for certain. So we're working in the background. I shared this at the December update, but I wanted to highlight again that by next month, we will have finalized our plans, gotten board approval, and we'll get back to you. But there's a lot of conversations happening in the background. So just make clear that there's a lot that has to be put in place for that to change, and that we're working with board and so forth.
수정사항이 많은 관계로 지금 많은 걸 조율하고 계시거든요. 그래서 3월 말까지는 다 정리된 다음에 학부모님께 안내 드린다고 말씀하셨습니다.
I also wanted to share that not only is middle school growing, but elementary is growing. And as they grow, they may need some more spaces. And so I'm letting you know now that as they grow and expand, some of our classrooms may move. And so I wanted to be very transparent with you. And again, I will have more definite information next month. So you will hear back from me about facilities changes, some movement between elementary and middle school, and where those rooms will move to.
이것도 마찬가지로 저희 초등학교가 많이 인원수가 많이 늘었거든요. 그래서 조율할 사항이 많아서 지금 정리 중에 있는데 3월까지 말씀드린다고 하셨습니다.
All right. So we have the Q&A, and I have a couple notes here. I want to thank you again for submitting questions in advance, and I just wanted to share. If there is vague language or maybe language not appropriate, again, if it's not respectful language to the community, then it would be addressed more individually and not in this setting. So I will follow up with those individuals. So I just wanted to make that clear if there was a question that I didn't feel was appropriate. Also, I wanted to share that sometimes there were multiple questions about the same thing, so I tried to combine those. And so I just wanted to say, if I don't provide enough information because I combine things, please ask me. So you are welcome to follow up on those questions. All right. So I was asked to share the table of contents in advance, and yes, that is a great request. And from this point forward, I'll have the agenda out to you. So let me say this. We will try to get the questions in a timely manner like we did this time, and I'll also, before the update, at least 1 week in advance, I will send you an agenda. So 1 week in advance, you'll get the agenda.
이번에는 조금 더 촉박했는데요. 앞으로는 일주일 전에 아젠다를 먼저 보내드린다고 하십니다.
All right, a question for parents who are not comfortable communicating in English. We'd appreciate if Korean interpretation could also be provided. And so we have Ms. Jo now who will be attending updates, but I did want to acknowledge, I try to script as much as possible, but I realize there are some places where we don't script as much, so we will continue to work on that and making sure it's very clear. So.
되도록이면 통역본을 첨부해서 전달해 드리도록 노력하겠습니다.
All right, the procedure and whom we should contact if a student needs to be absent due to unavoidable circumstances. The secondary school team is amazing. So the secondary school office, there's the email and the phone. We're going to work on a system where it might be able, you could fill out a form if needed, but that's what you do. And by the way, we put this slide in, so I just want to say thank you to the AAs. Often they give advice to parents, and so just wanted to say that if your child during flu season is not doing well, and they've had a fever for over 24 hours, it's a recommendation to get, if you want them to come back to school sooner, that you'll have it checked out for flu. It's just a recommendation. It comes up often on phone calls, parents calling for advice. So we're giving you the advice in advance. It is flu season still, and many people are sick. But again, be sure to notify the school if your child's going to be absent. Okay, so adjustment to school. So we have new students. They may have problems adjusting, and there was an ask to increase support staff. I wanted to share, thank you for raising this. Our grade 6 has been intentional in welcoming new students, and we do have new student ambassadors in every grade level. Grade 6 has done the care groups. We also hosted a new student luncheon, and it was we did a survey, very positive feedback. So we are trying to find out, so that survey was meant to say, are you doing well? Do you need to meet with a counselor? Those kinds of things to help us intervene. So just wanted to share that we're actively engaged in helping students transition.
이번에 새로 신입생들에게는 되도록이면 잘 적응하도록 노력을 많이 붙이고 있습니다. 기존의 학생들이 많이 도와주고 있는데요. 그래도 빨리 적응하는 게 나으니까 근데 서로 도움이 많이 돼요. 소통하는 상황에서.
In addition, I want you to know that our teachers are actively monitoring students and their adjustment and their progress and their learning. When concerns arise, they do collaborate with our middle school counselor, with our learning support coordinator, and our ELL coordinator. And so this team is already working with some new students because they realize, oh, maybe they're having a little harder time adjusting. So I want you to know that we are actively engaging in trying to monitor students and their adjustment. So thank you. So I had a two-part question. It was about nursing or health staff, and then one was about teacher staffing. So I'm going to answer it in two parts. So regarding the nurse, we're going to forward that to the business office. The nurse is not under secondary, it is under the business office. So we're going to forward your concern. I did want to note on the old campus, when we got up to 625 students, we had one nurse. So they're super nurses, but I just wanted to share that, but we will forward that concern. And then I need to clarify a few things. I did not communicate with you until late October, but planning for grade 6 semester 2 began in mid-September. We began interviewing and hiring for anticipated growth. And then Miss Hunter Salmons was hired in October. She was observed and interviewed along with other candidates. Because she was the most highly qualified candidate, we hired her. And so I did not communicate that at that time, but she was hired back in October. She is certified in English Language Arts, grades 5 to 12, and teaching English as a foreign language. She's an experienced teacher before she came to TCIS, and then she served 1.5 years in our dorm as a teaching resident assistant in addition to her role as ELL coordinator. So she's an experienced teacher. She came here to experience the dorm and working school side, and then we hired her full-time school side this semester. I want to share something. As secondary principal and a former dorm mom, I would want every teacher to work in the dorm for a year or two, to see the side of a student when they come home after a tough day and they're burdened, and to come alongside them and say, how are you doing? If I had my way as secondary school principal, everyone in this community would work a year or two in the dorm. So she chose that path and is now coming school side. So I just wanted to share, we are so blessed. It wasn't a desperation move to pull Ms. Hunter over. She was an experienced teacher. She has the heart for the dorm students, but had such a passion to be school side, and she interviewed and was observed, etc. So there was a whole process there. So key takeaways, anybody that's worked in the dorm has such a good understanding of our students, and then Ms. Hunter Summons is an experienced teacher who chose to spend time in the dorm, and then we hired her school side. So.
미스 헌터가 갑자기 채용된 게 아니라 그 전에 도움원으로 일을 하시고 계셨는데 이번에 다시 새 선생님으로 와서 인터뷰를 다 겪으신 다음에 학생들을 이미 도움모함에서 경험을 하셔가지고 이번에 이 영어 선생님하고 휴머니티즈 가르치시면서 조금 더 폭넓은 교육을 하신다고 하십니다. 근데 갑자기 데려오신 건 아니고요. 채용 프로세스를 다 거친 다음에 미스 헌터스가 채용됐다고 하십니다.
Thank you. And Ms. Hunter Simmons is currently serving as the grade 6 English humanities teacher, and the whole idea of hiring her second semester was so she could work with them in grade 6 and then bring them into grade 7. She teaches Bible, English language and literature, and humanities, and she serves as the ELO coordinator and is also working on her social science certification. There was a short time where she was teaching math. She's not teaching math, so can you just say 수학 아니요?
어떤 부분에 수학을 잠시 가르치셨다고는 하는데 그거는 전혀 저희 중등 교장께서 허락을 하신 부분이 아닙니다. 그리고 혹시라도 오해가 있으시면 그거는 전혀 허가된 게 아니었기 때문에 죄송하다는 말씀 드리겠습니다.
감사합니다. All right. We currently have 3 full-time grade 6 teachers in addition to the grade 6-7 design teacher, the grade 6-8 media teachers for the core subjects. And I just again publicly acknowledge that we were not able to hire a math science teacher for semester 2, and we're strategizing with the grade 6 team to ensure quality instruction. So if you want to add that last part there, we're working with the grade 6 team right now to ensure math and science instruction is where it is.
지금 현재 6학년 학생들이 많아졌잖아요. 그래서 교장 선생님은 수학 하고 과학 선생님을 모시려고 굉장히 열심히 뛰고 계십니다.
And then we also hired another grade 6 English Language and Humanities teacher to begin in March to help her transition into TCIS. So she's going to be grade 7 next year. She's going to move with Ms. Hunter Summons, but we're bringing her in March to introduce her to the model. She has some experience with PBL. She's an experienced teacher as well, but we wanted to hire her early to bring her in and wrap up with the grade 7 next year alongside Ms. Summons. And there were a few questions, grade 6, regarding student groupings, teacher assignments, and mixing new and returning students. And so I want to thank again the parents who shared feedback with us. And so I appreciate those emails and the update questions. And so what I want to do, I've promised those parents that they will hear from me again by tomorrow. So that is Wednesday, February 4. Grade 6 parents, all grade 6 parents will get a response from me about the grade 6 and hopefully clarify any misunderstandings, concerns, and tell you what our next steps are. So thank you to the grade 6 parents. One parent asked a question about the newly assigned grade 8 humanities teacher. So with the enrollment growth and constraints with scheduling, the scheduling is a very intense part of the role. We had to split a grade 8 MYP humanities section into 2 sections. And so because we had to split that, per our usual practice, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but our usual practice is when a group of students is impacted, but not the whole cohort is impacted, I notify, in middle school and high school, I notify the parents of the students impacted by the change. That has been our practice for years. You may or may not be aware there was a high school change this semester. You may not know that because if you have a child in, say, grade 9 or 10, you may be completely unaware there was a change because your child was not impacted. So, Ms. Jo, if you could please translate that across grades 6 to 12, if there's a change that only affects some students, we only notify parents of those students.
6학년에서 12학년 사이에 만약에 변화가 있었던 학생한테만 교장 선생님 개개인적으로 연락을 드렸다고 하고요. 전체적인 입장에서 변화가 없는 친구들은 또는 학부모님한테는 연락을 안 드렸다고 말씀하십니다. 그래서 혹시라도 8학년이 변화가 있을 때는 그 8학년한테 직접적으로 연락을 드렸다고 하십니다.
And any parents that had questions in the letter, it stated any parents who had questions were asked to contact the school. I had one parent contact me, and I met with that parent, and it was resolved. So I just wanted to make that clear that one parent did reach out to me, and I did address that. And then just to let you know, Ms. Catherine Katie Kim has a bachelor's degree in English language and literature and in social sciences, and is also certified in both areas and has been working at TCIS for a year and a half. So I was quite confident in her ability to deliver in the classroom. So that was the grade 8 staffing. And then there was a question about the MYP Korean 8 language and literature, the class size. And so the current class size of NYP Korean Language and Literature 8 is 25 students, which is our established class size cap. And in the question, it stated a number higher than that. That is incorrect. It is 25. And due to scheduling constraints, we're not able to split it into 2 sections, but we capped the class. We had more students, new students, wanting grade 8 Korean Language and Lit, and we said no, because we can't service you. So we did cap the class at 25. So then moving on, I did want to note that class organization, number of sections is reviewed annually, and of course during a time of growth. And there are plans to add additional sections next year to continue to support effective teaching and student learning. And then this was a great question. According to the school website, the student-to-teacher ratio is listed as 7:1. The marketing team, by the way, does the website. I will ask them about that. But then there was a concern about student-to-teacher ratio and if there are plans to hire additional teachers. So with that, we have been in the process of reviewing the number of faculty needed for enrollment growth. The student ratio of all middle school students to teachers is approximately 10:1. I got the question and I did some quick calculations, so it's roughly 10:1, but I will ask marketing for the exact number, and I will put that in my next information to you. But since September, October, we've been adding positions since September, October, and so I'm going to provide a summary only for middle school, but we've also added a little bit in high school, but here we go. So I want to make clear that all grade levels will have World Foreign Language teachers, in addition to the physical health education, outdoor ed teachers, and music teachers. So again, we've already hired an extra physical education, health and education teacher. We've added an additional full-time music teacher. So we had 1 full-time, 1 part-time. We've added an extra, in addition to adding positions in math, science, and English humanities. So with that, I'll jump into the planned staffing for grade 6. So again, I'm not putting physical and health education or music up here. So those are in addition. But here's what's planned for the core academics: 2 English Language and Lit humanities teachers, 2 math science teachers, 1 design, media arts, visual arts teacher. So that's grade 6 plan. For grade 7, 2 English Language and Lit, 2 math science, 1 design, media arts, and 1 visual arts. And then in grade 8 to 9, grades 8 to 9, there'll be a group of teachers over both years, because 9 is the first year of high school. And typically teachers teach 6 sections, 5 or 6 sections of a subject. So we're combining some things here. So that's the plan for grades 8 to 9. And by the way, we'll share this with you so you can look back. There were a few parents, this is a great question, who asked about mixed ability English class model in middle school. Specifically, these questions are excellent. How does the school ensure that advanced English learners are sufficiently challenged, particularly in developing the academic vocabulary, literary analysis, and critical thinking skills needed for IBDP English Language and Literature HL? And so that was one key question. Another key question: how do instruction, texts, discussions, and assignments remain appropriately rigorous for advanced learners while still being accessible and supportive for developing learners? I think this is a huge question. I think it's a very important question. This is very, very critical. So can you just say that we think this is a great question and very important, and thank you for asking today.
되게 중요한 질문을 하셨는데요. 이거 물어봐 주셔서 감사합니다.
Okay. So, and the last question: should level or streamed English classes similar to mathematics and past TCI's practice be reconsidered to better support the diverse learning needs of students? Great question. So they came longer than that, but I shortened them to those 3 questions. And I just want to say again, these are excellent questions, and I appreciate the heart behind them and how they were raised both face-to-face and via the survey. And I'm going to be sharing these questions with every grade in middle school and early high school, and we will discuss them as a team. I want to say that a skilled teacher is able to differentiate instruction to appropriately challenge advanced learners while supporting students who need additional help. Our philosophy values peer learning, recognizing that students benefit from learning alongside one another. At the same time, we acknowledge the desire for increased challenge for students with more advanced English skills, and this will be discussed further as a team. And I'm going to leave the script for a second. So, Sherry, you're going to have to translate. If we value our model, but we do not appropriately challenge those advanced learners, that is not okay. I hear you and I understand. So if we do the model we say, we have to appropriately challenge, and if we're not, then we have to come together and figure out how to do so.
Do you need a bullet point? Yeah. So
Key things, we value our model, but if we don't appropriately challenge students who need to be challenged, that are ready for the challenge, that is not okay.
저희 학교의 그 에듀케이션 모델에 따르면 학생들이 적절한 도전을 제공해야 한다고 생각하시기 때문에 만약에 학생들이 그런 도전을 못 받아들였다면 저기 어떻게 할 건지 개선한다고 개선한 사항을 적극적으로 추진한다고 말씀하십니다.
So we as a secondary school team, we have to examine that, review that, and figure out how we deliver appropriate challenge for every student.
저희 학생의 그 도전과 achieve 해야 될 여러 가지 사항들을 저희 교장 선생님께서는 다 achieve 할 수 있도록, 다 성취할 수 있도록 도움을 주시겠다고 말씀하십니다.
Thank you. I was asked the question, what are the main educational priorities the middle school is focusing on? So for this year, the entire secondary has been, our goal is to strengthen literacy across middle school and high school. And those key things there, you can see strong reading, writing, academic language skills, those are critical. We are also working on strengthening project-based learning. Again, that's deepening engagement and real-world application. And some other key things, implementing the 5 C's: collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, self-directed learning. Sorry, that should say commitment. My apologies. That should say commitment is the 5 C's. I'll update my slide. And then further developing the higher blocks, or those STEAM opportunities, but also creative writing. Those opportunities we provide for students in electives. And then just wanted to share, if you are a new parent, if you're wondering what HIRE is, it's an acronym, and you can see it here translated. And if you click on that link, it's an English presentation that I need to have translated into Korean that the head of school helped develop last couple years ago. So if you're wondering what HIRE is, there you go. So if you could just translate, if you're wondering what HIRE is, there's a presentation on it, but it's about the project-based learning and all of those elements there.
하의 간단한 약자인데요. H는 Holistic Development이고요. I는 Interconnected Learning이고요. 그건 상호 연결 학습이고, G는 Generosity Through Service, 봉사를 통한 나눔이고, Hands-on Learning, H는 체험 중심의 학습, 또 E는 Exceptional Learning Environment, 탁월한 학습 환경이고, 마지막에 R은 Real World Problem Solving이라고 실제 문제 해결 능력에 대해서 HIG, HER, HIRE라고 약자를 말씀해 주셨답니다. 그 파란색 클릭을 해보면 정확한 설명이 나와 있다고 하십니다.
All right, and the question, is English the primary language used for communication within the school? Yes, we do have a language of inclusion policy. Not every student can speak or understand Korean. Students are encouraged to speak English at all times for language development and as part of our inclusion program, ensuring that every student feels included and comfortable in every environment at TCIS. This is a huge area for growth, getting our students to be inclusive and continue to use English. So that's a huge area of growth for us, every child using English during the school day.
저희 학교에서 혹시라도 한국어를 더 많이 쓴다 이렇게 생각하실 경우도 있는데요. 하지만 학교는 외국 학교, 그러니까 국제 학교이기 때문에 아이들이 더 영어에 대해서 확실하게 사용한다고 꼭 집어주십니다.
There are, by the way, subjects for, of course, World Foreign Language, Spanish, Mandarin, and Korean, where they would use those languages. And I wanted to take a moment to revisit consuming English. Parents, reading, watching things in English, speaking, not as a task, but as daily practice. These habits are essential for your children to be able to confidently engage. So we're going to work really hard on working on English use in school, but if they leave at 3:30 p.m. and they talk Korean or Mandarin or other languages all day long and never even think about English again, their development will be impeded. So these are critical skills for the university and workplace. So really encourage English exposure at home, regular, consistent, and again, if you would have your children, especially at this age, read 20 minutes per day. This is an old diagram, but it's so powerful. Your children will achieve and grow rapidly if they will read at least 20 minutes. 20 minutes a day is so powerful. Question about course curriculum guide in advance of the academic year. Parents want to know what are these courses about, not just our NYP courses, but these electives and making informed decisions. I just wanted to say thank you. The NYP coordinator is working on an NYP handbook, and also we always link our standards. You can see what your child is supposed to cover in math and English and science at that link right there. And also thank you, the electives. We'll work on getting maybe a little bit more robust description of those electives. And then a great question, we'd like to ask whether the school could provide access to IXL to support students in reviewing and reflecting. Great question. I worked with IXL when I was working with elementary. I'm open to all suggestions, so I'm going to review this with the team. We might be able to do a user pay fee for this year. Maybe we can look ahead to next year, so we're going to review this request and see what we can do. I agree it can be really great for some learners to use this resource. So I will get back to you soon about that. And then the summer intensive SAT was really encouraged. Someone said, hey, can you do it a little longer? This is I actually taught it one summer when I was a dorm mom and AP calculus teacher back before IB. I actually worked in the math section of the SAT prep, and I'm really excited about the interest here. And so I just wanted to say that I'm so glad that parents have found it so positive. Mr. Joe O, who is our current grade 8 English Language and Lit and Humanities teacher, he's also grade team leader. And he has taught this program for years, even before joining the secondary school team. He taught this, and he does a great job with it. So I will forward your request. Mrs. Jung is the Director of Student Services, and so she handles all summer programming, and so I will forward this to her. And again, if it's about residence life, I know I didn't talk about the dorm today. There were several questions about the dorm, and it would have made this meeting really long, and it's not my area. So I thought I'd better hand it off to Mr. Wimway, but please know your questions were forwarded to Mr. Wimway. And please know that transportation, Mrs. Unju Jung is the Director of Student Services. She also handles transportation as it relates to students getting to and from places. And Mr. Wimway, if it was transportation for dorm students, then it was also sent to Mr. Wimway. And the summer programming, again, was sent to Mrs. Jung. So, with that, I wanted to just say quickly, unity, belonging, those are key terms. And again, just expressing that genuine love. I hope that we will experience genuine love as we face challenges and we challenge each other, we give feedback and we share. I pray that we'll all experience genuine love. So if you would take a moment, you'll receive the presentation. So if you prefer to click on a link, it's there. But if you have just a second, I thrive on feedback and would welcome your feedback. So again, thank you so much for coming today. I'm very grateful. And if you want to stay back, if you have some questions, some people, I know you need to leave, but if you want to stay back and ask a couple questions, please feel free to do so. But again, 감사합니다. Thank you so much.
혹시 추가 질문 있으시면 더 질문해 주시고요. 다른 피드백으로 저 QR코드로 남겨주시면 수 있으면 남겨주시면 감사하겠습니다. Any questions? Yes.
우리 학교 시간에 대해서 아까 말씀해 주셨는데 지식 부분은 그대로 바뀌는 게 확정이
아직 지금 내부적으로 조율 중이어서
왜 바뀌는 건지 진짜 그것도 너무 궁금하긴 하고요.
Okay, great question about next year, the end of school, end of the school day time. So currently, the school day ends at 3:30, but office hours goes till 4:15. Do you want to explain that first? 3:30 and then
학교는 3시 30분에 하지만 저희는 그 사무실 시간은 4시 15분까지 넘어가거든요. 그래서 혹시라도 궁금한 사항이 있거나 연락하실 방법이 있다거나 이러면 4시 15분까지 저희 학교가 열려 있으니까
무슨 말씀이세요?
잠시만요. 네.
아니 아까 스케줄이 지금 제가 엘리에서도 4시 15분에 스케줄이 바뀔 수도 있다고 퍼스트 드래프트를 받았는데 이번에 엘리 프린시퍼 업데이트에서는 또 교장 선생님이 이게 스크린에 할 때는 제가 사진까지 찍었거든요. 사진 찍었는데 3시 20분에 맞추도록 이렇게 되어 있더라고요. 근데 지금 계속 뭐 헷갈리는 슬라이드가 또 다시 오고 이게 스케줄이 그리고 4시 15분에 바뀌는 거는 엘리 때 사실 들었는데 미들에서도 그거를 설명이 좀 더 필요한 것 같아요. 네.
From elementary school, the schedule change this week announced. And middle school, we also announced that it will be changed on November 15th. But why the change and it's already fixed? It's kind of
Yeah. Okay, so as I said earlier, the school day ends at 3:30, and then we have office hours that goes till 4:15. So there are some program changes happening in elementary, and we in secondary have been looking at offering more options for things in middle school and high school. So middle school would actually most likely end more around 4 p.m. because of athletics starting. And so it is not at all set. We are in drafting stages, and that's why I wanted to announce it today. Once I have a working copy, I will send it out to you again. I gave a link in December, but that was just, it was an initial idea, and it got feedback and it didn't go well. So key things, I'm going to get to the why in a minute, but the idea is that there are some changes we're working on. The why is to offer more things, but it's not set yet.
현재는 지금 정확하게 결정되지는 않았지만 조금 더 많은 변화와 그 초이스를 주기 위해서 지금 현재 고민 중이라고 말씀하시고요. 정확하게 말씀드리면 3월까지 스케줄 변화가 이렇게 된다라고 안내하실 예정이시라고 하십니다.
So we're hoping to expand the middle school arts electives offerings. So we want to offer more middle school arts electives. And again, we're looking at other options in middle school and high school. But again, middle school will most likely end closer to 4 p.m. because of middle school athletics and activities. So again, we're in drafting stage. So 미안합니다 that I don't have more to give you, but I wanted to be very transparent. I mentioned it December and I mentioned it today because I want to be very transparent that we're trying to see what can be offered, but it will be sent to you for feedback once I have something presentable to give you for feedback. Does that make sense?
현재는 그 중학교에서 아틀레틱 친구들이 4시에 여러 가지 활동이 있잖아요. 그거에 대해서 변화가 많이 있어요. 그래서 지금 그 조율 중에 있어서 정확하게 말씀드리지 못하는 점에 대해서 양해의 말씀을 구하십니다.
그러면 저희 아이는 저희 학년은 8학년은 내년에 9학년으로 올라가잖아요. 그럼 고등학교도 만약에 변화가 있으면 4시 15분에 끝나는 건 동일한가요? 고등학교.
아니
So great question. We have a student that's in 8th grade going into 9th grade. Will there be a change in the schedule for high school? So yes, this would be an elementary, middle, and high school adjustment to a later time frame. And the idea is that in high school, we want to expand some electives offerings. Again, we've added in a music teacher. We're going to separate orchestra and band, strings and band. We've been doing full orchestra, but ideally we would have a strings elective and a band elective, and that will allow more focus for those two groups of students. Because if you're sitting in an orchestra and you have one conductor, they're focused on the strings and the wind instruments, and so if we can separate those again, we can have more specialization and focus. So we're trying to offer more electives, and therefore that would require an adjustment in high school as well.
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Then, do you start the school at the same time like this, or are you going to change the start time as well? Are you going to start earlier or later, or are you going to start at the same time?
Great question. So the question is, are we going to start at the same time or earlier? I am trying to be in sync with elementary in terms of start time. I heard that they may start at 8:15 or they may start at 8:10. I'm not certain yet. So I'm waiting till they land because of busing and so forth. So I'm trying to align with them. And again, we'll come to consensus. But yes, I'm trying to hear what their schedule, or see what their schedule looks like, make a determination, send out to you for feedback. So great question. Thank you for asking. Well, anything else? I didn't want to cut anybody off, but too good. Okay. Thank you again for coming today. I'm so grateful, and I pray that this is a blessed semester. And again, if something's not right, please reach out. And I will do my best to communicate the things we're working on, the things we're thinking about, the challenges we're facing. And I just want to thank you for your partnership and for your kindness. So, 감사합니다. Thank you.
추가사항 있으시면 저희한테 연락 주시면 교장 선생님 대담으로 상실해 주신다고 말씀하셨습니다. 와주셔서 감사합니다.
네.